love Reddit. I'm a big fan of Reddit. I go on there for maybe 17 hours a day. It's one of my favorite apps. I read some unbelievable stories, and for today, we have some unbelievable Reddit stories that we can't get over. Some of these are actually crazy. I've only read a couple of them. I'm not gonna lie, I've only seen a couple, but the rest are gonna be new to me. So let's do it. Let's read and react together. First one coming in hot from Razzling Roll 1686. 1686, wow, quite old. Let's do it. I was once the last person to cross a bridge before it fell. I looked in my rearview mirror to see what the noise was, to see open air where there should have been road. And some white-faced people, of course, who were just about to cross as well. Yeah, you narrowly avoided some disaster, my friend. That's pretty wild. I've never seen a bridge collapse. I mean, obviously. I said it like it's a normal thing that people would see. It's kind of odd. Oh, I love how on Central lately, there've been some comments being like, where's Taylor? And then one comment was like, he was in the last video. He was in the trash can. Then everyone's like, trash? Are him and Olivia still dating? This one comes from Jeremy Lee, 12 years ago. We're still talking about it. Let's do it. I wasn't feeling great, but I decided to meet anyway. We met at a Belgian beer bar. She was gorgeous, fun, and totally into me. And she believed in space and fossils. I had it upwritten. She didn't say that. I felt the gas pain, so I leaned forward slightly to quietly relieve the pressure. Classic. Forward, that's a little brave. I would go more sideways, but forward, that's okay. Because if you go forward, the air is going up, crack, and it's gonna go like up your shirt, know what I mean? Sideways, it kind of goes out of pant leg. Forward, you fart up your shirt. Side note. I completely and explosively shat myself. I excused myself to the bathroom, but the damage was too great. The damage was too great, like it's a military ship. Captain, we're going down, the damage, it's too severe. I walked out of the bathroom, muddy panted, out of the bar, and boarded the train for home. Oh no, the train? You unlucky lad. The date was nothing compared to the horror of the following 3 weeks, recovering from E. coli. Oh no. Sorry, that sucks. That sucks so much, but you know what? Jeremy Lee, you're talking about it. We're laughing about it. We're not laughing at you, we're laughing with you. I'm laughing a little at you. That's just horrible timing, you know what I mean? I hope the date worked out. I hope she called back, you know? Maybe she read this on Reddit and she was like, oh, that explains Jeremy. That explains the explosive diarrhea. This one comes from I Am a Trucker. Ask me anything. I'm like, is it loud when you beep the horn? I worked in hotels for several years. A surprising number of sleepwalkers slept in the nude. All right, cover your eyes, young ones. They wander out of their rooms without their keys and have to be let back in. Verifying their identities can be a bit of a chore. Yeah, I can imagine how that's pretty rough. Here's the thing, Kyle, you know Kyle, he's on this channel, he's great, he's my brother. I grew up with him, obviously, and he has night terrors. I would hear that in the middle of the night and I would be like, oh my God, what's going on? And I would go outside and I would see Kyle doing something in the middle of the night, right? Little funny, mostly concerning, right? It was a family matter. We're like, all right, let's make sure he's good. But he was never nude, you know what I mean? He was never ass out. I walked into my own brother standing like this, spread out like a big crab, just standing on the bed, butt naked. When a Nebraska church exploded in 1950, no one was injured because every single member of the choir was coincidentally late in arriving for practice that specific evening. Now this was back in December 31st, 1998. So you know what? Let's just keep being late. Let's party like it's 1998. Let's keep being late. Perched upon Yggdrasil. It's a great place. Yggdrasil, so good. Yggdrasil. In middle school, I did that eeny, meeny, miny, mo game on every single question for a Spanish test, and I got the highest grade in my class. 96% to 98%-ish. That's pretty good. Honestly, not a bad way to do it. When in doubt, eeny, meeny, miny, the answer out. Or just go with C. I think C is just let's do C for all of them. And I think statistically you should get like 37 to 39%. Yeah, don't do that. Just study instead. It's probably a better idea. I did that with a French test one time. I just guessed a bunch of shit and somehow I got it right. Pose strep. 9 years ago. In math class, when I was 12 years old, our math teacher noticed his watch had stopped. It messed up the timing of our class since he didn't realize how close to the end of our class. I can't read. It messed up the timing of our class since he didn't realize how close to the end of our hour he was, but the next day he didn't come to school and we had a replacement lesson. Little odd. When he came back a few days later, it turned out his dad had died unexpectedly, exactly at the time the watch had stopped. I didn't see that coming at all. I actually hesitated as I was reading it, because in my head I was like, holy what? Ow, my elbow! When he came back a few days later, it turned out that his dad had died unexpectedly. I mean, honestly, I'm sorry for your loss, but that is some odd timing. That is some odd, unbelievable timing indeed. That's sad, obviously, but like, I'm thinking of Interstellar right now, you know what I mean? I'm thinking of Interstellar and like the watch, the bookshelf. I'm like, maybe he's trying to communicate. You know what I mean? Maybe there's some other layer of life. Jader88. The old Jaders. Back in my partying days, this guy that was all geeked out said there was people in the cornfield watching him. All right, I gotta unpack this. People in the cornfield, got it. We figured if you stay up 3 or 4 days, you're gonna start seeing stuff. Until one day, the drug task force surrounded his place, and they really had been watching him from the cornfield. Okay, a lot to unpack here. He was all geeked out. I just imagine like a guy wearing a stormtrooper outfit when I hear geeked out, you know what I mean? Imagine you think people are watching you from a cornfield and people are actually watching you from a cornfield. That's haunting. Valenbino, 89. I'm gonna stop right there. That's an amazing name. Valenbino, I adore you. A buddy of mine worked at Jimmy John's in college. He'd always say he was the fastest sandwich maker in the land, and we'd bust his chops about it. Yeah, first of all, who says the land? What is this, medieval times? You're the fastest sandwich maker in all of the lands? Get out of here. Eventually, got the nickname Speedy Hands. Okay, sorry. Eventually, he got the nickname Speedy Hands Javier. Speedy Hands Javier. Eventually got the nickname Speedy Hands Javier. Anyways, the guy gets flown to Vegas one time with the rest of his JJ's sandwich making team to compete in the national fastest sub making competition. This is amazing. We have a lot to talk about after this. The guy wins it and comes back with $5 grand and an I told you so for the ages. Okay, so you gave him the nicknames Speedy Hands McGee or whatever, Hot Hands Javier. Anyways, the guy goes to Vegas to compete. I didn't even know this was a thing. Imagine going to Vegas for like a bachelor party and your friends are like, yeah, let's go to this gentleman's club or let's go to this show. Let's go to the Jabberwockies. Guy in the back's like, nah, I got something way better. We're gonna watch the sub-making championships. That's amazing. This one comes from Rad Iron Dax. It's a cool name. It's not as cool as the Juice, but it's pretty cool. Taking the trash out at night, super remote area. Getting close to the road, I hear very clearly, help me, from a female voice. Okay, that's terrifying. Even knowing there's such a slim chance of there being another living person around, I still feel like I should look around and check it out in case I wasn't just hearing things and someone actually needs help. Great idea, very great idea. I know it's scary and like you hear things at night, but like make sure someone might need you, you never know, especially, you know, wherever this is. Obviously. Take about 2 steps in the direction I thought I heard it, hear a giggle in the same exact voice, turn around and walk promptly back up the driveway because that shit. I love how I said advice and then afterwards I'm like, you know what, fair. Anyone who actually needed help wouldn't be laughing, I don't think. That's a fair point, Rad Iron Dax. Keep it up, it's pretty rad of you. I was at a theme park waiting in line for a ride. I saw a group of about 8 to 10 people hanging around the entrance speaking a sign language. One person left the group to speak to an employee, I think to ask how long the wait was or something along those lines, and obviously did not like the answer. She went back and told the other people in the group and suddenly all hell broke loose. They all started arguing and fighting in sign language. I've never seen hands move so fast in my entire life. I don't know how they could understand each other as they were all signing at once. I've never thought about this before. I've seen 2 deaf people argue before. When I was working at I was gonna say the shoe store. I was working at a shoe store in the world. Doesn't start with the letter N, and the second word doesn't start with the letter B. I was working at a shoe store, a nice athletic shoe store. I was working at a shoe store and I saw a deaf couple and they were arguing. And it was interesting. Can't hear things obviously, but a group? I don't know how you would be able to keep up. That's pretty impressive. I tried to learn sign language over the pandemic, but it's honestly so hard. Mad respect. Those were some unbelievable Reddit stories that we're still talking about. We got some sign language fights that I didn't even know could happen. That's so impressive. We have bridges falling and collapsing. We have creepy kids in cornfields giggling. I don't even know what's going on. Reddit's a wild, wild place. Thank you for joining us on Top 10 Central. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters. You'll see more of my face here, so hope you like me. If not, I'll try harder next time. See you next time on Top 10 Central. Bye-bye now. The odor was immediate, as one would assume. It would be quite sudden. That guy just died. There we go. So far away, I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Top 10 Central. A lot of things to take in here. First of all geeked out. What does that even mean? There's something about streaming in an empty room where you lose your mind after 12 minutes. 12 minutes? I feel like I've been here for 48. Do we have any Jimmy Johns? No one's there. I don't know. I got you. I made you look. No one's in this room. It's just me. It's just me going crazy. There's nothing like hearing footsteps get close to your room and they just stop. And you're like, okay, here we go.